All right, so we go do a new sound recorded video. So from Chat GPT, I asked, how much do you need to make from a W-2 where, with taxes automatically taken out from the W-2 to afford Miami. So here's a realistic look at how much you need to gross before taxes on a W-2 salary with taxes automatically deducted to afford Miami based on current cost. General income needed. Typical renter 30% rule. To afford average Miami rent without spending more than 30% of your income on housing, you need around six figures, 100,000 to 110,000 per year. Wow. This is because typical rents are roughly 27 to 2,800 per month in Miami-Dade. Wow. And most people don't even make that a month from their job, just that to pay for rent. Wow. Comfortable living, single adult. Some cost estimates suggest that to live reasonably comfortable, rent, food, utility, transportation, modest savings, a single person needs to make around 62 to 80 per year. Wow. More typical and realistic benchmark, many studies and local analysis put their comfortable annual income at about 80 to 100,000 if you're on your own and renting in the city. And imagine what jobs you apply for that even show, how much you're gonna make. Many studies and local analysis put the comfortable annual income at about 80 to 100 if you living on your own and renting in the city. Wow. Home ownership versus renting. If you're considering buying a home instead, the income needed to qualify comfortably for a median price home in Miami metro area is around 150,000 per year because home prices and mortgage burdens are steep. Wow. So hardly nobody can really afford that. Only maybe 10% or less, 5% or less. How this works with the W-2. On a W-2, your employer will automatically take out Fed income, Social Security and Medicare, FICA, and any other withholdings from um, insurance, retirement contributions if you elect them. That means your take-home pay will be lower than your gross salary roughly. On 100,000 salary, you might take home around 70 to 78,000 after a federal tax and FICA. On an 80,000 salary, take-home pay might be closer to 55 to 60,000. Because Miami has no state income tax, take-home percentage are slightly bit better than many other big cities. So the summary estimates for Chat GPT says bare minimum to rent and live in Miami. It says approximately gross salary needed 60,000 plus. Wow. And most jobs not even paying that, not even the teachers. Wow. Moderate comfortable single adult renting 80 to 100. Household or family renting and living comfortably, you need 100 stacks or more. Buying a median home, you need 150,000 plus. Wow. Notes, these are general benchmarks. Real needs vary greatly with your lifestyle area, Miami roommates versus solo, car costs, savings goals, etc. Housing is by far the biggest driver of costs. Shrinking rent even slightly by living further from the city center or with roommates can lower the income needed. If you want, I could break this down into monthly after-tax numbers or estimate savings goals too. Just tell me what scenario you're thinking about, single, couple, family, renting versus buying. Even. All right, so let's see what they're saying next. What Google Gemini says. So to afford Miami in 2026, the magic number depends on whether you want to just get by or live comfortably because Florida has no state income tax. Your W-2 only faces Social Security, Medicare, FICA, and federal. To live comfortably as a single adult in a standard one-bedroom apartment, you should aim for a gross salary of approximately 105 grand to 115 grand. Wow. The cost breakdown monthly to understand the salary, we have to look at the all-in monthly cost for the single person in 2026. Expense category, one bedroom, 24 to 28. Wow. Prices vary by neighborhood. Brickell is higher, Little Havana is lower. Wow. Utilities internet, 350 to 450. Groceries 400 to 550. Transportation car 500 to 700 they're saying. Healthcare miscellaneous 300 to 500. Take home needed. Total take home needed 3,900 to 5,000 a month. Wow, who's people barely making that? This covers the basics without much aggressive saving. Wow. The W-2 math, gross versus net, to end up with 5,000 in your pocket every month after taxes. Here's how the W-2 math looks for a single filer using the 106,000 comfortable renting benchmark. Wow, 106,000 comfortable renting. Federal income tax 14,000 based on 2026 brackets. FICA 8,100. State income tax $0. The Florida perk. Estimated net take home 83,900. Wow. The 30% rule, most landlords require your gross monthly income to be at least 3 times the rent. If your rent is 2,700, you must show a W-2 earning at least 80. Wow, the 30% rule. So most landlords require you to get 3 times the rent. If your rent is 2,700, you must show a W-2 earning at least 8,100 a month, which is 97,000 a year just to qualify for the lease. Wow. Most people are not going to qualify for that. Which Miami mode are you in? Survival mode, 65 to 75K. You'll need roommates or a studio in a budget neighborhood like Alapata or North Miami. Wow. You'll be house poor, meaning most of your money goes to rent. Wow. Comfortable mode, 105 to 125,000. You can afford a modern one bedroom in areas like Edgewater or Coral Gables, own a car and enjoy the nightlife occasionally. Occasionally, wow, if you're making 6 figures, Miami luxury, 180,000 or more. This is the entry point for high rise in Brickell or Sunny Isles with a dedicated parking spot and a resort lifestyle. Wow. If you want to stay alone and not stress about grocery bills, aim for a W-2 offer of 110,000. If you are comfortable with a roommate, you can stay well on 80,000. Wow. Close to 6 figures pretty much, not even close to 50,000. So let's see what that was Google Gemini. Let's see what Claude's saying. So Claude said, here's a practical breakdown for a person in Miami on a W-2. It said rent 22 to 2,700, utility 270, groceries 400, transportation 3 to 400, health miscellaneous 200 to 300, total 3,334 to 4,100 a month. Wow. What you need to afford Miami. Wow, that's what you need. You need all these thousands of dollars a month. So what gross W-2 salary do you need? Using the standard rule that housing should be 30% of it. Gross income and rent averaging 2,500 a month. Bare minimum tight budget 55 to 60. Live comfortably, you need 75 to 85. 55 to 60, that's pretty much more than that's at least 25 yeah, 25 hour for most full-time jobs. Live comfortably, one bedroom going out 75 to 85, comfortably in a nicer area. Brickell, South Beach 100,000. Wow. Gross salary um after tax reality, Florida has no income. So gross salary 55,000, very tight. 70,000 manageable. 85 comfortable. 100 good quality. Key things to know: Florida has zero income tax, which helps a lot versus states like NY or Cali. Suburbs like Kendall, Doral, or Hialeah can cut rent by 400 to 700. Hmm. Roommates can make 50 to 60K actually livable. A family of four needs roughly 100 to 120 household income. Bottom line, to be comfortably as a single person, most sources recommend at least 60 to 80. But realistically, 75,000 plus gives you room without stressing every month. Interesting. So that's what it is, man, for how much you need from a W-2 is basically saying close to six figures. For the most part, it's not even saying close to 50,000.